All right, welcome back to the channel. I've started doing a series called The Three Pillars. I had an article about it on my the Occult House and Northside Hunter blog, and I wanted to go along with another pillar of that and be able to demonstrate at least some beginner techniques that I used to use a long time ago, and that I still use technically daily. In pursuit of my energetic practice. And so essentially what we're really doing, at least in my opinion, for a short video like this, is that we are learning to feel and sense the energy that's already around us, which can differ from place to place. But here we have a really easy exercise to do right here. Got this little bonsai tree here. It had 0 leaves on it when I first got it. It was literally in the discount aisle. And now it's back to this. I plan on bringing it inside for the winter. I hope it survives. But anyways, so over here is this tree, right? And if you've done other exercises where you gather or curate, cultivate energies, this might be pretty basic, but if you're really new to it and you don't want to just kind of fake it all till you make it all, right, then this is a really easy exercise to do. And what you'll need to do is you may need to do this, you may need to meditate for a while at first, okay, and that's mostly to help calm you down, because really our senses and stuff like that are already there. We're just accessing, right? And just like a skill, the more you access it, the kind of the easier it becomes to access that skill, right? The more efficient you become at it. And this is no different here. We're just using it with regards to plants. In this case, this little bonsai tree. Now you could ask, okay, does it matter if it's a potted plant or a tree? And it doesn't matter, for this instance at all. It doesn't matter at all. Because all we're doing here is you'll close your eyes, right? Once you've calmed yourself, and you'll put your hand close to this tree until you can kind of feel it pushing back against you. Okay. Now it might feel like a little bit of pressure. It might feel like you're kind of reaching into the plant, and it's going to kind of depend on how you interpret these things, because they can feel differently to different people. But this is essentially what you want to do, is you want to put your hand near it so you can feel the pushback, gentle pushback, right, from this plant, right? And then over time, you'll figure out you can feel it the further and further away you get from it, right? Until you can just be sitting here and you can feel the plant. So that's a really good way of doing it. It's also something you can do in public. Nobody's got to know what you're doing. You can do it with a tree. Doesn't matter. Flower. Act like you're looking at the flower, looking at the tree. Doesn't matter, right? Sit in the grass and use the grass. You can do the same thing if you want to feel the earth, right? Same way. Now with the earth thing though, you'll feel your local earth, if you will, unless you project outwards and downwards and whatnot, right? But here, just practice touching these objects, and over time you'll start to feel that you can, well, some objects you'll connect to easier than others, but you'll start to be able to reach out to it. And then that's when other kinds of information transfers or energy transfers can happen, right? Because here we're just trying to sense, okay? And that's to help us get that far-ranging exercise. Basically, it's no different than exercise. We're trying to reactivate that ability that we already have, that we just aren't paying attention to, and that's partially because we're told not to, right? We aren't raised with it. We aren't raised with thinking this way. You can say it's similar to animism in general, and that wouldn't be far off at all. You can use the same thing with crystals, stones, earth. Um, it doesn't even have to be a living object, right? Well, living object. Right? It could be a car if you really want to. Um, can't say I've done a lot of that because I'm interested in trees and plants and what this will also lead to over time though, as it's practiced, is you can connect to the area around you, and the more you connect to that area around you, now you don't want to be connected all the time, but at least not at first. That's partially why we ground, but the more you connect to the area around you, the more you'll feel when that changes. So when an area changes, it can mean a lot of things. But if you're going to start doing things like evocation, um, just petitions for presence, if you don't want to do evocation, um, and when I say evocation, I mean respectful evocation, right? Whether it's respectful or not is your preference. Um, Mine are until there are enough reasons for it not to be, right? Um, so just this one simple little exercise, feeling the plant, and in a sense, the plant is feeling you too, right? Your fields are intermingling, and that starts to open up other skills like sense areas, which is primarily how I can tell what spirits in my area when they come in, because the area changes, right? So if I've like I don't do circles really unless the path I'm working in requires it. But I did do areas, right? So I would do this back porch, or I would do part of this backyard, and I would level the energy in that backyard, or banish the area, right? And once I know what that feels like, I can tell when that changes. And so eventually you start to say, oh, this is Spirit X, or this is Spirit Y, this is Hecate, or maybe this is Santa Muerta, or hey, Pazuzu just came in. You know, um, you'll start to feel things like that. Now, sometimes you'll feel other people too, but that's a different that's a different thing. Um, and most people don't have any reason to be concerned about that. But this one simple little exercise, doing it with a lot of different plants. I suppose I should say how I started getting into this, just with relation to this exercise. And what happened was they would talk about like the Force and Star Wars and things like that, and they said it's all around you, and that really struck a chord with me. And so I tried to connect with things around me, and I wasn't exactly the most disciplined kid. Um, it's not. There were no books. There was no home internet back in that day, so there weren't going to be any books of this in my local library. That was, you know, I think it's Christian only basically. Um, so I'm not going to find a whole lot of information about that. So I kind of make up some of these things as I went. And I'm not going to say they didn't have guidance because I must have, or maybe a past life thing or something. But I used to do this, um, but I didn't really think to do that with a single plant like this until I saw the Carillion photographs of plants where they'd have like a leaf, part of their leaf snapped off, and that the energetic field from that part that had been snapped off was still there for I don't remember how long now. Um, and that's when I kind of put the two together, like, hey, if I can't feel everything, then maybe I can feel this tree, right? And this same skill is used in several of Hiyaka's workings with Pele's Grimoire. It's used for the area, I believe it's called dealing with stress, where you're basically recycling that energy into the ground and pulling fresh energy back in. It's the same thing. It starts from stuff like this. Except there we're dealing with patches or entire areas, right? But usually if I'm pulling from nature, I'm going to give back to nature too. Nature's a great recycler, and I tend to not be parasitic. So, I mean, pretty much the same set of skills, just not my style at this point. So, feel the tree, feel the plant, feel the grass, whatever you're gonna do. If you're not so much into nature, well, I just try to scratch my forehead. um, then there's a good book, Helios Unbound. I hope this is visible, by Nick Farrell. Um, I don't know if it's Pharrell or Feral or what, but anyways, there's a really good exercise I'm getting called where you're basically taking in the sun and pulling it into you that way. And this would be a good start for that. Or you can do that either way you want. You can let the sun shine on you and then pull it inside of you. I mean, the sun's going to give it to you anyhow, right? So it's not like the tree or the plants or grass where we're kind of taking from them. Um, and we don't have to take from them. We can just push it down, and it's fine with that too, right? But like with the sun's always going to give it to you. Okay. Um, and so you can literally pull that into you, and you can start to feel solar energy like that too. But little sensitivity exercises like this, done over time, can have a big impact on your practice. Um, you don't have to do them daily. I would encourage you to. Think of some of your own. There are plenty that I could do. Work through Pele's Grimoire. Pele's Grimoire has it's essentially an energy training manual if you want it to be. Um, the higher level stuff up there you are not going to be able to do with ceremonial magic, right? At least the stuff that I do, right? Um, I've done every ritual in that book. They were given to me, and I had to use and practice them. Some I'm more in tune to than others. Um, so obviously, I really resonated strongly with plants and the grass and stuff, and that simple exercise I was trying as a teen, unknowingly, is kind of what led to that. So I wanted to give that exercise to you as an easy way to start, easy way to feel. Um, and once you know what this object feels like, in this case, a plant, then you can reach out to it and feel it that way too. And then that in turn will start feeling other things in other ways, and you'll start to really sense how alive your area is, and that in turn will really enliven your practice. So I hope you found this useful. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but it's all meaningful in its own way. So thank you, and we'll be another one soon.